Nope.
Hello, dear listener. This week's story will be a remastered version of one of the first stories I ever uploaded to this channel. This is an original piece that I first narrated when I initially launched the channel back in 2014, almost exactly 3 years ago today. I'd like to believe my skills have developed and come a long way since then. And because this is one of my favorites, I figured it deserved a refresher. Also, it's official, everyone. We have t-shirts. If you want to learn more about how you can get one and in the process support the channel, stay tuned till the end. With that said, sit back, relax, and enjoy the tale of El Beso de la Paloma. Would you look at this view? Isn't it something, Sammy? Sam peeked out of the window behind his mother, who stood, arms wide open, on the balcony of their hotel. He wasn't impressed. At the ripe age of 14, the last thing he wanted to do with his precious summer break was to spend it with his parents and little sister, even if they were staying in one of the highest rated hotels in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. They had been upgraded to a suite, which meant he and his sister would have their own room, separate from their parents. "Yeah, it's nice," replied Sam half-heartedly, flipping to a new channel on the TV before adding, "Can we just go to the pool already?" "We told you, Sam, we're not going to the pool today. We're heading into town," answered his mother, coming inside and shutting the sliding glass door behind her. Sam groaned in protest, but he knew it was in vain. Their annual family vacation meant spending quality time together, which often meant a lot of boring activities picked out by his mother and his father. Shopping at the local markets had been something Sam was used to on these trips, but that didn't mean he hated them any less. But everyone else loved it. Mom got great deals on unique jewelry. Dad got to test out his haggling skills, and his little sister Melissa always came back with a few new toys or stuffed animals. She was only 9, so to her, the magic of these trips had not yet faded. He remembered when he loved to go too, but some things just change with age. Sam stared out of the window of the cab, taking in the scenes of the rustic roadside. The streets of Mexico were paved with poverty, and it seemed the only people he saw who were not struggling were fellow tourists. It was not long until the cab passed beneath the giant handwritten sign. The letters stood in all caps, big and bold against the weathered wood grain, and read, "Bucerias." Hours passed, and the 4 travelers were beginning to wrap up their final purchases. The Bucerias area was a sight to see. To Sam's surprise, the people all seemed genuinely happy. The men sat and sipped on their cheap beer, while the women played with their babies. Children laughed and chased each other all over the cobblestone roads. The elderly, still dressed in their Sunday best, rocked in their old, hand-built chairs, running their shops. Because it was Sunday, the shops were closing earlier than normal. Sam and his family were crossing through a brightly colored alleyway on their way back to the main road, when his mother suddenly stopped. One last jewelry store had remained open, and there was a vibrant, beautiful necklace that caught her eye. she had to have it, and told Sam and Melissa to wait for her outside. Sam let out yet another groan to express his disapproval. He had been there long enough, and his patience had finally worn thin. "Give your teenage angst a rest, Sam. It will only take a minute. Here's some money. Go buy some candy or something for you and your sister," said Sam's mother as she shoved a handful of pesos in his palm. Sam was pissed, but the thought of satisfying his sweet tooth calmed him down a bit. He took Melissa by the hand and headed down the alley to the only other shop that was still open. As they walked, they noticed the alley had been painted with a series of murals. Images of animals, landscapes, and passionate lovers adorned the aged walls. Among these illustrations was the image of a small girl, with the words written above her in black that read, "Al Beso de la Paloma." The eyes of the girl gazed into Sam's. He stood in front of it, eyes scanning every inch. The girl was in a formal white dress, with her hair pulled and tied back in a bun. In her hands, she held a book and a candle. Her head had a warm aura around it, as if it were illuminated or glowing. Lastly, a single dove can be seen. With its wings spread wide open, the dove seemed to be diving into the girl as she simply stood there, emotionless. At the foot of the painting was a collection of trinkets, food, and clothing. "I wonder what it means," pondered Melissa, as she also gazed at the cryptic mural. Her words awoke Sam from his trance, and he shook it off, continuing towards the shop. Using the money he was given, he bought 2 big chocolate bars for him and his sister. The owner of the shop was an elderly lady who smiled pleasantly at the sight of the 2 young travelers. The woman handed Sam the candy before asking, "Esto es para la chica?" Sam stared at the woman, puzzled. "I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't understand," Sam replied as he handed one of the candy bars to Melissa. The woman adjusted herself in her chair. "The candy. Are you going to offer it to the girl?" "Who? My sister? She's already got hers. This one's mine," answered Sam with an obvious tone of confusion. "No, chico," laughed the woman. "Not your sister. Her." She tossed up her wrinkly hand and pointed toward the mural of the girl they had passed. "It is Sunday. You must leave an offering." Sam stared at the woman. He immediately assumed that she was old and crazy, and was about to turn around to leave. Before he could, Melissa chimed in. With her little voice, she asked the woman, "Why? What happens on Sunday?" The woman laughed and wagged her finger at the 2 siblings. "First time in La Bucerias?" Sam and Melissa slightly nodded their heads, not sure if they should leave. Before they could, the woman rose from her chair and walked towards them. "That is El Beso de la Paloma, kiss of the dove. The girl you see was an orphan. She lived in a church that used to be here in La Bucerias." "What happened to her?" Melissa asked, filled with curiosity. "She lived in the church for years, and while they gave her food and a warm bed, she never once received any gifts. The church did not have enough money. But for her 10th birthday,
the father decided he would surprise her with some small toys and candy.
The woman stopped and changed her focus from the mural to Sam and Melissa before continuing.
The night of her birthday, the town was attacked by a group of banditos. They trapped the father and his orphans in the church before throwing in their torch. Everyone inside died in the fire.
Sam began to roll his eyes. Bandits, huh? The woman shot a look of frustration to Sam and answered,
Sí, niño, bandits.
By now, Melissa was giving the shopkeeper her full attention, listening intently, and asked,
Did they ever catch the bandits?
The woman's tone lightened up in response to the sweet little girl.
Even better, chica. A few days later, the bandits were all found dead. Their skin was black and burned. The man who found their bodies say the trees were filled with doves. The doves flew away when the man came. The people of the town believed it was the spirit of the girl who found and killed the men. The mural was painted for her memory, and every Sunday those who visit La Bucerias must leave her a gift.
By this point, Sam had heard enough. Oh, yeah? And what happens if we don't? Does her spirit come get us too? He mocked as he waved his hand sarcastically. He grabbed Melissa's hand and began to pull her back towards their parents, who were wrapping up their negotiations. The woman simply smiled and watched Sam as he walked away. Before they were out of sight, she yelled,
Careful, niño. She's seen you, and she won't forget you.
After struggling to break free, Melissa managed to slip from her brother's forceful grip.
Let go,
she shouted as she yanked her wrist away.
I'm gonna leave her my candy.
Don't be stupid, Melissa. It's not real, barked Sam as he tried to pull her back again. Melissa screamed at the top of her lungs, causing everyone to stop and stare in their direction. Fine, do whatever the hell you want, idiot. Melissa walked over to the mural and placed her candy beside the other collection of items. She gave one last look to the mural before smiling and running past Sam to her mother. Sam was heated. He couldn't understand how anyone could believe such a ridiculous urban legend. He walked back to the mural and gave it one last scan.
Did the little girl get burned up?
Not exactly the birthday party you had in mind, huh? Sam laughed. Hey, I have an idea. Maybe this will put out the fire. Sam breathed in deep before hawking a large wad of spit onto the mural. He looked down at the collection of offerings that were at his feet. Well, if she's not going to eat it, I definitely will. He crouched down and picked up the candy bar Melissa had left. After pocketing the treat, he ran back to his family, and the four began to head back to the hotel. The ride back seemed to take even longer. Dusk had set in, and the dull streetlights radiated among the broken roads. Sam was sitting in the back seat, beside his now sleeping sister and mother, while his father sat in front, practicing his broken Spanish with the cab driver. He rested his head against the window and continued to gaze around. There was a lot of wildlife that inhabited the streets. Dogs, cats, rodents, and birds dwelling among the people seemed to be a normal thing. The birds, there sure were a lot of them. Sam began to count them as they moved along. So many white birds, many more than he'd seen earlier that day. What were they? Seagulls? Pigeons? No. Doves. Sam jumped in surprise. His dad was leaning over, speaking with the cab driver. "How you say many doves?" he asked, pointing to the creatures that seemed to be surrounding the vehicle. The driver was even looking at them. This clearly was not normal. It was like that all the way back to the hotel. The birds kept their distance, but slowly closed the gap between them and Sam as he walked with his family back to their hotel. He had never been so happy to arrive back to the room. He immediately burst into his room, ready to shower and end the day, when he noticed his mother had left the curtains open on their patio window. Sam's eyes widened in disbelief and fear when he looked out of it. Perched up along the walls of the patio were several large white doves. They simply stood there, not moving a muscle, gazing at him. Sam's fear was quickly replaced with anger as he threw open the patio door and leapt outside, waving his arms frantically to drive away his winged tormentors. Sam watched them fly away into the night. He walked back inside and shut the patio door, locking it and drawing the curtains closed. Satisfied with his work, he decided it was time to call it a night. As Sam slept, he was plagued with nightmares. Visions of small children dying violently in large flames, begging for his help as he stood idly and watched them wither away. No matter how hard he tried to move his body, he can only stand there, eyes glued to the horrific scene. The whole time he watched, doves gathered around him. They stared. They judged. They condemned. A loud noise woke Sam from his nightmare. Unaware of the sound, Sam began to breathe, letting his senses return to him. He looked around the room, never feeling so much relief. He looked to his sister, who slept soundly. With one last sigh, Sam laid his head back on his pillow and shut his eyes. He was just about to drift back into unconsciousness when he heard another loud tap. Sam shot back up and looked towards the direction of the sound. It had come from the patio window. Eyes wide and body frozen still, Sam continued to watch the window. Another loud tap blasted from the window, but this time, Sam also heard the rustling of feathers. He sighed in both relief and frustration. "I am going to kill these damn birds," mumbled Sam as he dragged himself out of bed. He approached the window, but stopped when he noticed something. Coming from behind the curtain, he noticed a subtle light being radiated. It was too dim and hovering too low to be the patio light. Sam stood there for a minute, not sure what to do. Another loud tap, more forceful than the others, shook him from his paralysis. The tapping turned into knocking, and the knocking into banging, until it sounded like there was a group of intruders attempting to shatter the glass from the outside. Sam was frozen solid in fear. The banging was so loud. He was sure his parents would barge in any second to investigate. But no matter how long he waited, they did not come. In his confusion, he failed to notice Melissa crawl out of her bed until she walked right past him, heading towards the window. Melissa, what the hell are you doing? Get away from there! Demanded Sam, whispering as loud as he can. She did not even acknowledge his words. Her eyes were fixed upon the window, and she continued to take small steps toward the patio door. When she finally got to it, Melissa reached up and grabbed one end of the curtains. As soon as she did, the tapping immediately ceased. Sam watched from a distance, not sure what to do. Then, Melissa did it. She threw open the curtains, exposing the patio. Sam's eyes shot wide open, and his body tensed up with so much fear, he thought he would vomit. Standing there, surrounded by doves, was the girl from the painting. She hovered slightly above the ground, carrying the same candle from the mural. Though her eyes were pure black, Sam knew she was staring directly at him through the glass. Melissa, get away from the window, Sam begged as he gestured for his sister to come to him. Melissa was still in her hypnotic state. She released her grip from the curtains and turned her direction towards the handle of the sliding door, grabbing it and unlocking it. Melissa, what the hell are you doing? Stop! Whimpered Sam, backing away from the phantom girl. It was no use. With a single motion, Melissa opened the patio door. Immediately, the flock of doves flew into the room and began attacking Sam. They pecked him from every direction, all over his face and body. Sam ran to the bedroom door and pulled at the handle. It wouldn't budge. He banged on the door as hard as he can, screaming for his parents to come save him. But no help came. Bloodied and sore from the ferocious pecking, Sam desperately ran to his bed and dove under his covers, wrapping himself in the thick comforter. He felt the birds trying to attack him through the cloth, but he was relieved when he realized they couldn't actually hurt him. One by one, the doves gave up, and he heard as they flew out of the still open patio door. Sam continued to lie there in his protective cocoon. When he no longer felt or heard a dove for several minutes, he slowly peeked towards the window from under the blanket. The doves were gone, and more importantly, she was gone. The ghost girl had disappeared. Melissa had gone out to the patio and was staring over the edge, apparently still under a spell.
She is not in danger.
A chilling voice spoke to Sam from the other side of his bed. His stomach dropped in terror. He whipped around, only to be face to face with her, the girl from the painting. She stood there, only feet away, staring past his eyes into his soul.
But you will be punished. You will feel the pain I felt. The pain we all felt.
Just then, Sam felt a finger run along his back. One finger turned into several, until he was being pinned down by a group of small hands. He looked at what was holding him and could not believe his eyes. Beside his bed stood a group of small children, all with horrible burns across their bodies. Many were missing hair. Another had his teeth completely exposed. Another his organs. They all held Sam down, ensuring his struggles to break free would be futile. Screams filled the room, screams of children in agony, the same screams from his nightmare. Sam felt the bed move and he turned towards the girl. She began crawling into bed with him. The closer she got, the more her body began to transform. She eased towards Sam's vulnerable body, slowly becoming more like her friends. Her skin beginning to char and flake away while her hair disappeared in smoke. By the time she was close enough to lay a hand on her target, her body was desecrated. She wrapped her scorched limbs around the boy before giving him a single kiss on the cheek. Sam felt an excruciating pain at the touch of her skin, like being seared over a blazing grill. Before he can scream, one of the children held his mouth shut. She held him tight as he struggled, with his skin being broiled in her scalding embrace. Sam eventually blacked out. The next morning, Sam's mother and father found their son lying in his bed. His skin was incinerated with third-degree burns that covered him from head to toe. All the hair was burnt off his feeble body. They found Melissa in a ball on the patio, crying her eyes out and inconsolable. When the paramedics came, Sam still had his eyes wide open, continuing to mumble a single phrase. La Paloma. La Paloma. Why does he keep saying that? His mother wept as she desperately searched for answers. What the hell does that even mean? The paramedics looked at each other with a look of unease. Señora, you guys didn't happen to visit La Bucerias yesterday, did you? Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this remastered version of my story. If you did, remember to sucker punch that like button and subscribe for future videos. Think of your like and sub as offerings to the orphan girl. You wouldn't want to anger her vengeful spirit, would you? Anyway, everyone, I wanted to let you all know that I recently set up an online shop. At that shop, you'll be able to purchase a variety of original designs that can be applied to apparel, drinkware, notebooks, and a whole lot more. If you find it in your heart to support the channel, and hopefully obtain a new t-shirt or trinket in the process, I would greatly appreciate it. You can find a link in the description below. And while you're down there, you'll find a link to the Facebook page where you can enter to win a free month of Shudder and get your spook on this Halloween weekend. Until next time, dear listener, stay safe out there. I'll be seeing you in the next video.